Hey y'all, welcome to the Coyote Trapping School Podcast. I'm your host Chris Pope, coming at you here. The podcast is brought to you by Coyote Lures, the go-to spot if you need trapping supplies. Head on over to Coyote, KAATZBROS.com. They'll get you fixed up with whatever bait, lure, or any other trapping supplies that you need. The only thing the Coyote can't get you set up with, but I can, is the next run of short liner trapping bags. So if you didn't get your order in last year, or you've just seen so much since last year and you've been wanting to get your hands on one, this is a trapping bag for those of you that have new to the podcast or new to the channel. This is a trapping bag that I developed, I came up with. The main selling point is all your tools. It's long enough that your shovel, your trowel, your even if you turn, in most instances, a drill and auger, if you turn them sideways, they'll go in here. All your tools will go into the bag and not hang out the end. You got a couple of pockets on the end if you want to throw some pan covers or whatever in. It is a heavy-duty, kind of a plastic-like. It's not plastic, but it's VPC, vinyl coated polyester. Anyway, it's a durable material. It's going to resist, any kind of brittleness or anything from the sun or cold. But it's going to hold up. You can rinse it off. You can wash it off. It's water resistant. I've got drain holes in the bottom of the bag because that's one thing that I figured out during my testing process. Got a couple of pockets on the front for you to throw S-hook pliers, screwdriver for adjusting your pan tension. D-rings on the outside on both sides if you want to throw a strap over it, or if you wanted to hook whatever you want to hook onto the outside, you can. So going over to CoyoteTrappingSchool.com or just Google short liner trapping bag and it'll pop up. I'm glad to have these back in production now. Don't know how long, but definitely I've got a few on hand and more being made. So get your order in, and I appreciate it if you do. Shoot me any questions you have about the bag, if you got any. Otherwise, to get into the meat of the podcast, today's podcast is an interview with Ryan Carpenter. Ryan is one of the R's of R&R Trading Post out of Pennsylvania. So it's Ryan, and I believe his wife's name is Renee Carpenter. And they have got a really neat business of sewing fur. And, they'll sew fur, they'll sew some of their fur, or if you want to send them fur, they'll sew your fur too. And I found Ryan on Instagram and just keeping up with kind of what they were doing. And I actually, don't tell my kids this, but I sent several of my furs to them to have made into fur teddy bears, real fur teddy bears. It's something I thought about for a long time, but just hadn't gotten the focus to do it. But, saw Ryan, some of his posts in the teddy bears. I thought, man, those look really good. I've got the tan fur. I need to get this done. Christmas is coming. This will work out perfectly. So I'm excited to get those back. But I was just really excited to see what Ryan's doing. They're in Pennsylvania and coming up with an outlet, an avenue for using our fur locally. That's something I've talked about a lot. And, with the last episode talking about, really a non-existent fur market, or a very poor fur market at best. And the benefits, I think, would be to us as, U.S. trappers, if people here could see some of the products and some of the results of us trapping and, fur products. And I think that would be a huge benefit to our cause as trappers and to promoting our cause, seeing that, this stuff can be used. It looks nice. It's going to last a long time, and it's sustainable. That goes to the message that we're always preaching, right? And so it's a really interesting conversation. You can reach out to Ryan as R&R Trading Post. They've got a website, Instagram, maybe a Facebook too, but I think, like a lot of me, and I think Ryan, he does a lot more on Instagram. I think he does a pretty good bit on Facebook, though, because we were talking about the engagement on Facebook and Instagram. He does different hats, vests. They made a really sharp vest for the Pennsylvania Rodeo Queen. Coyote vest, man, look, it was sharp. But, they'll pretty much, his wife is the sewing wizard, and she can pretty much make, from the sounds of it, whatever you want. So, give them a look. And if you've got some tan fur hanging around that you've been wanting to do something with, reach out to them, because or if you just want something of fur, heck, I'd love for them to be doing enough that they're having to buy fur. And I think Ryan said they're buying a little bit, but I'd love for them to have to buy fur to supply the demand, because I'd love for us to be able to generate a localized U.S. based fur market. That's just something that I would really like to see more of, kind of a pet project in my mind anyway. So there's one more thing that I was going to tell you, and I can't think of what it is now. But anyway, it'll come to me after a while. So anyway, hit me up if you want a short line or trapping bag. Otherwise, tune in. Go check Ryan and Renee out, R&R Trading Post. Ryan does all the social media stuff, but their phone is listed on the website. And if you need something, I called Renee to get get their address to ship the furs to. So very responsive, super nice people. Nice to talk to and easy to deal with. So look them up, and if you can, help support them. They said, Ryan told me that they're running anywhere from 3 to 4 months out on orders, which is awesome. That means that they're getting a lot of interest, a lot of demand, and I hope we maybe push that out a little bit longer if y'all reach out and get them to make some stuff for you too. So support them, listen to the podcast. I think you'll enjoy it, and it's pretty neat to see what we can do as trappers if we just put our minds to it. So today we're with Ryan Carpenter of one of the R's of R&R Trading Post. And so Ryan, if you will, give us a little bit of background on you and your trapping background, and then your business maybe as well.
Yeah, hello. It's great to be on the show, Chris. It was awesome when you reached out to me. I've listened to your podcast before, and I really enjoy them. And yeah, as far as I go, today's my birthday. I just turned 37. I'm from Pennsylvania, and always a huge sportsman, hunter, fisherman. Always wanted to get into trapping, but no one really in my family ever did it. So I just decided, like 10 years ago, I'm going to just start trying to do this and see how it goes. And I had a lot of failures, and but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy some books, DVDs, and I watched them, and I learned a lot that way. The first year was okay. I actually did catch a fox my first year, but I still felt like I wasn't just grasping, the whole concept. So luckily I ran into a friend that I met actually at the fair. I met him at the fair, then the next day I saw him at church, and I'm like, I know you. And he's like, and he's a member of the Pennsylvania Trappers Association. So we got to be really good friends, and he took me out on his trap line, and I learned so much from him that way, just having that mentor and the guidance there, and seeing how it's done, firsthand. So I've learned a lot. I'm doing this 10 years now, and I always am trying to, pass on everything I can to anyone who wants to learn about trapping, because it's such a great sport. And then, yeah, as far as the business goes, my wife has been a seamstress pretty much all her life. She grew up making her own clothing and stuff, and I was catching all these raccoons, and I'm like, man, the market's down, what can we do with these things? I said, can you make me a raccoon vest? And she's like, oh yeah, I think I could easily do that. So she ended up working on this vest for me out of tan coons that I had gotten from Moyles, and it just turned out awesome. And then I said, well, could you make me a hat too? And she's like, yeah, I can probably make a hat. So she got some patterns and worked on it, and she just made me this awesome raccoon aviator hat, and I'm like, or trooper hat, and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. So then, it's like we need to maybe start marketing some of this stuff, because I know like guys are looking for an outlet for the fur because the market's down, and so we started posting on Facebook and Instagram, and we started doing a lot with the Pennsylvania Trappers Association too, and we just, it just really blossomed from there, and it's been great. I mean, we've been going. Let's see, about 6 years ago is when she made me that vest, and every year we keep growing and growing, and it's just been really great.
That's awesome. Yes, I definitely want to talk to you more about the business. But what about, so what did you have much exposure to trapping, early on, or what? Because when I think of Pennsylvania, especially compared to the South, I mean, I think there are a good number of trappers up there. So how does that compare? What's the trapper population, I guess, like in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it is. Pennsylvania's tricky because there's a lot, there's a lot of trappers out there, and even though the market's down, there's a lot of trapping going on, and it's great. We have a lot of trapper training schools too, and I'm involved with those too, teaching people there. But as far as the trapping, yeah, I mean it's a very a strong state for trapping, and it was hard for me getting started because a lot of guys around here kind of have their own farms or properties to trap, and that was frustrating, But where there's a will, there's a way. And I just really put in the time, and I got to know a lot of people. I even actually went and helped some farmers, take care of their cows and things to try to, some farms, they didn't have trappers. So, you got to put in the legwork, and you got to really, work on trying to, find properties where people will let you trap. And also just looking for, smaller areas, like maybe not the big farm, maybe just a smaller spot or patch that's maybe 5 or 6 acres that borders that farm. You can get on those, and if you can find, a waterway or if there's a pinch point or something, those spots can be really good too. So that's kind of how I focused my trapping when I first started. I started trying to find spots like that.
Gotcha. So does Pennsylvania allow right-of-way trapping or no?
Well, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Does Pennsylvania allow right-of-way trapping?
Right away, like what's that?
So like the culverts and things like that?
Yes, you can trap culverts in PA, yeah. Okay. Yep, you can trap culverts, and yeah, you're fine there. I mostly trap for canines. I'm basically trapping for foxes and coyotes. I do catch a lot of raccoons in my canine sets, and we do run a small water trap line. Like me, I have two young boys, and they go with me, and we have a blast trapping for mink. The muskrat population is really down in Pennsylvania right now. In our area, I'm sure there's still quite a few in certain pockets, but in the creeks around here, the muskrats are definitely declining. So it's hard for me to get out and run a water line with the boys, which is kind of sad. But no, we do trap waterways. Now we do have to be 150 yards from any house or dwelling. So that's kind of important. That's something that you really got to watch up here, because even if you're setting a 110, it's a kill trap. You still have to be 150 yards away from a house, even if you're not using a gun. So that's one thing you really got to watch yourself up here, making sure and you're fine if you get permission to be that close, you're fine. But that's one thing with like waterways and along the roads and stuff that you got to watch that regulation.
Gotcha. So what about your canine trapping? Are you catching more coyotes than fox, or about the same?
When I first started, I was catching a lot of foxes. It started off slow. My best couple years, I caught. Let's see, 4 years ago I caught 53 reds, and then the year before that I caught 52, and then let me think. Then I had back surgery, which that was an eye-opener for me. I had to sit out on most of the season here would have been 2 years ago. This past November is when I had it. So my wife helped me out there a lot. I was down and out, and I had it in November, and by the end of the season, I'm like, man, I got to get out and try to do some trapping. So she actually helped me go out, and the boys went with, and they helped me. She dug all the holes, the dirt holes, pounded the traps in, and I got down. She put the dirt hole in, and I actually just got down and bedded the trap and put the bait in, and we worked as a team. And that was actually in the end of February, which usually I'm not trapping that late, but I'm like, I got to get out and do some trapping. Some of these farmers are really wanting me to come and show up, so we made it happen. And I did catch 8 reds that year, and those were the hardest caught 8 reds that I ever had. It was rough, but man, what a wife! She helped me out, and it was great, and we were able to get out and do some trapping. But then this past year, my red numbers were down a little bit. I was around 30, I think I had 32, but I did catch 4 coyotes. So definitely the coyotes in our area, they're around. They're not in huge numbers, but we're kind of on the northern part of Lebanon County, where we still have a good red population, but we're right at the base of the Big Blue Mountain. And so we will run into quite a few coyotes, gray fox. We have some gray foxes, not many. But the further south you go, like you get down toward lower Lebanon, Lancaster, that's where, guys will really put up big red numbers. So yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of trapping going on. There's also a lot of predator hunting too going on right now. So it's kind of interesting with the trappers and the predator hunters trying to work with and around each other. But it's something that I feel, I think it's going well. I mean, it's everybody's kind of got to respect if there's someone there, there's definitely a form of respect and I haven't run into any problems so far with it. But I do believe there's definitely a lot of pressure put on the reds up in our area for sure because of the numbers of hunters and trappers. It's just really, there's a lot of them out there.
Gotcha. So is running foxes with dogs very prominent up there?
Not in our area, not here where I'm at. I know down in Lancaster County they do still do that. I'm not really too sure about how much they do it anymore. I'm not up on that too much, but I do know they still do that down. I think it's in Lancaster, and maybe they do it in other parts of the state too. But I don't know a whole lot about running foxes with dogs. They do run coyotes with dogs. I know they do a lot of that in upstate Pennsylvania. That's kind of like I say, I don't know a whole lot about that either right now with the running dogs, but yeah. We do run into that some on the state land, especially with bird hunters and stuff like that. When I'm trapping for bobcats and fishers up in the mountains, there's quite a few still grouse hunters and bird hunters. So we do have like you said, we have a lot of people out in the woods in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So is in general Pennsylvania state land, is it open to trapping, or what are the regulations on public land in Pennsylvania?
Yes, public land is open to trapping, which is great. There's a lot of public land. This past year I actually caught my first beaver, which was really exciting. We don't have many beaver at all around where I live. So when you find them, it's pretty cool. And I was pretty pumped. That was like shooting a big buck this past year when I caught my first beaver. I was just really happy. So that was cool. I really want to target beavers more, maybe, make a special trip for them one day. But yeah, the state land is great. I mean, you can trap, pretty much anywhere on state land. We do have a lot of problems, not with so much trap theft that I've ever had. I did have one stolen last year. But, again, a lot of people with dogs, a lot of hikers, people that don't like trappers, are out there, and they'll mess with your traps. They'll tamper with them. I've had traps, MB550s, smashed to where you couldn't fix them. They were unrepairable because people, find them, or you snip somebody's dog and they just take it out on your trap. So yeah, that's one thing with the public land, but there is a lot of it, and I do quite a bit of trapping on public land in PA. So
do you make a special trip for Fisher, or is that close enough to where you are to be on your regular line?
Yeah, that's this past year. They just actually no, it was 2 years ago. They opened up Fisher trapping in 4C, which is our area. They reintroduced them a couple years ago, and they're really booming in the state now. They're really moving around. So it was really cool. They opened it up in our area. There's not a lot of them in my area. 4C, I found last year. Was the first year I targeted them on my Bobcat line, and I tried real hard. I knew there was some in some of the areas where I was at, but I did not catch a fisher yet. So that's my goal this year. I really, really want to get out, and I want to set for fishers. Actually, a friend at work has a camp in upstate PA, and he's got a lot of them. So I might end up going up with him for a couple days or maybe a week to see if I can get one with him.
So what is your, because we don't have any fishers anywhere near here, what does a fisher set look like?
Fisher set, my fisher set, I make a cubby. Like I said, I'm still learning. I know a lot of guys catch them, using cubbies. So I was making cubbies. Some guys just use, regular dirt hole, but I'll make a cubby. I was using muskrat meat. And some of my bait and lure that I make, I was using that last year, and also they like really skunky. That's what I've heard. So I use a lot of skunk essence at my fisher sets. I don't do any flagging for fishers. I will flag some for cats. But as far as fishers go, make a cubby and make it real skunky. I did have fishers coming around the tree this past year. I'm sure I had one come around the tree and rob the bait out from above my cubby. So I fenced it off even more up top, and but I didn't have any luck. So we'll see. Hopefully this year I can get into them.
Gotcha. So are your sets dual purpose, kind of fisher and bobcat, or will the bobcats tend to shy away from the fisher sets?
No, I make them the same. I will. I'm convinced. Now, granted, like I said, I haven't caught a fisher, but I know a lot of people that have. I have a friend that has caught quite a few, and he'll make the same set. He just makes a dirt hole, and that's what he's using. But yeah, I'll use skunky lures for cats. Especially, you put them, long distance. I'll put them up on the tree just to lure them in. But yeah, I'll run the same set for a cat that I would a fisher. I set my traps out, a good, foot and a half for my bobcats. I don't like to, sometimes they don't always want to come in and work the set, is what I found anyway. But I've caught 2 PA cats. I caught one 3 years ago. And then I caught one this past year because I missed a year with the surgery in November, so I didn't get out for cats that year. But no, I'll run the same set.
So do y'all have limits or quotas on the bobcats and fishers?
Yep, you're allowed one a season, 1 bobcat per trapper and 1 fisher per trapper. Yep, and that's not a drawing. It used to be a drawing. Now it's you can just get one over the counter. And they're monitoring the cat numbers pretty closely right now. Some areas of the state, they think that the numbers are declining, so they are watching that closely. But right now, yeah, they haven't really they haven't changed anything as far as I know. But no, the cat numbers, I mean, they're good. I don't even have to go far for them either. It's great. They seem to be pretty close to home, which is great.
Is that something that's kind of always been like that, just for whatever reason bobcats aren't that prevalent, or is that something that, do you have any insight into that? I mean, did it used to be just a wide open limit on bobcats and folks would catch 20 or 30 a season, or?
No, not as far as I know. I mean, we've just never had many bobcats in the state. Now, I know, like, back when I was a young kid, there was always bobcats up at our camp in Sullivan County. But people would talk about them, and I'm not 100% sure on when they did open the trapping season for them. Not sure on that. I don't know at what point they did open it, but I know every year they keep growing and growing. They keep opening more and more units, and yeah, it's been great. But yeah, as far as I know, there has never been a great population of bobcats in PA. Anyway, in any recent time,
Gotcha.
if that answers your question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was, because that's always funny to me is we have pretty robust bobcat populations. I mean, the general public has no clue that there are as many bobcats as there are, but it's not really it's not anything to go set some traps in a pine thicket and you'll catch. You got just as good of a chance of catching a bobcat as a coyote.
Oh wow, yeah, it's not like that here. They're some areas, yes, they're very plentiful here, but no, and the thing too is, again, we have so many trappers, so the state, I believe the Game Commission really has to watch how many tags they do give, because it would be pretty easy, I think, to really hammer down on the cat population, because we have so many trappers and predator hunters for bobcats. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that they've got to watch, and like I said, they're watching it pretty closely now to make sure that we don't, over harvest the bobcats.
Gotcha. So earlier you talked about, trapping farms, and the farmers wanted you to come trap.
Yep.
Is that just kind of historical thing that they're used to that, or what kind of farm land are you talking?
Yeah, it's kind of historical. Like once these old, not so much all older guys, quite a few older guys that have been trapping for a long time, they get their farms, and that's their farm. They'll trap that farm, and like when I go to ask for permission or something, if there's a trapper there, I just keep going on. Because then there's one trapper there, and they pretty much take care of it. They're monitoring the numbers of animals being taken, and they're doing that farmer a service, So yeah, I'll just move on and try to find another spot. What was your question again?
So what kind of when you say farm what kind of farms are they?
Yeah, they're mostly dairy farms.
Okay.
A lot of dairy farms. We've got a lot of dairy farms around here. Christmas tree farms. Trying to think what other farms. Pig. We have a lot of chicken houses, pig farms. Yeah, that's pretty much the basic. And then there's also a lot of farms that were dairy farms that people just live on. They might have heifers there, or just they're raising steers or something for meat. Yeah, that's pretty much the farms that I'm talking about. Now, like I said, there's a lot of creeks and stuff and other smaller properties that run through these big farms, and those are kind of the areas that I'm targeting.
Gotcha. So what's a big farm in Pennsylvania?
Big farm. Well, my in-laws have a farm. They have a dairy farm, and I think they have 70 acres.
Okay.
I'd say that's a medium-sized farm. I think it's 70 acres because they have 70 cows, and I think that's pretty sure that's pretty close on the size. Then there's some that are a couple hundred acres. I do have quite a few farms that I trap. A lot of times, some farms get overlooked, or there's just not, that's the thing, again, putting your legwork in and trying to find these farms that no one has found, or taking a different road, or finding those back roads and trying to get in that way and trying to find these farms. But yeah, as far as farm size, that's I'd say a 100-acre farm is probably pretty average.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty similar to down here. We've got some larger, timberland pieces, if you can catch it right. But in general, if you're talking about private landowners, 250-ish acres, maybe. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's I'm basically trapping the farmland, and when I'm targeting my canine line, that's where I am when I will run a separate line over Christmas for cats and fishers then up in the mountains.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see here. So transitioning to the fur business that you and your wife run.
Yep.
So y'all, it looks to me just from looking on your website and all, y'all pretty much sell anything or will make anything that can be made with fur. Give me a little spiel about that, I guess.
Yeah, we're not afraid to take on a challenge. I hate to say that we're like super custom, but we do. If we just want people to wear fur. We want to make fur popular and cool to wear again. So if someone has an idea, throw it at us. We're willing to try it. My wife's really good with patterns, so she doesn't have a pattern. She can make patterns. For example, if somebody wanted a beaver face mask the other day and the other week, and I'm like, oh man, that's crazy, but all right, we'll make it, whatever. You want beaver scraps, okay, we'll make you a beaver face mask. So we posted that on Facebook and Instagram, and it's like, man, this is crazy. And people are like blowing up about this face mask, and it was pretty cool because like I made a comment like you could be a fake beard, or you could even wear something like that in the late flintlock muzzleloader season here in PA to keep your face warm. So yeah, we ended up selling a bunch of them, and so that's an example of somebody had an idea and we ran with it, and it was pretty cool to see that flourish. But it's great. The trapping community is just I'm amazed at how we stick together, even through tough times, and it's just been great to see meeting the people, especially in PA. There's so many trappers and in PA that we've met and we're friends with, and just have become really great customers, and it's really cool to see it grow. But yeah, as far as making stuff, if you have an idea, throw it at us. We can I don't want to say we can make anything, but my wife is really talented with the machine.
Yeah, so I was just kind of scrolling through your website, and you got different like trooper hats and bomber hats and vests. The vest that y'all made for the Pennsylvania Rodeo Queen.
Yeah.
That was a sharp vest. That was really nice.
Yeah, that's cool. That is a really cool program that we got in with, and again, that was through the Trappers Association here in PA. they sponsor the Rodeo Queen program, which is it's an awesome program for those girls. And we were happy to make vests for the Queen and the Teen. And it's been, I think this is the 4th year, I think, that we're doing that. And it's been awesome. I mean, we get great pictures, and the girls wear them around to the rodeos. They come to the trapper events. They're usually always come to the state trapper rendezvous. But yeah, the vests they've been really great. And it's great working with the girls in that program. So yeah, really cool.
And then teddy bears, which I got my shipment off today first for some bears in. So I'm pretty excited about seeing those things.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we make a small, medium, and a large bear. We like to use beaver for the face and the pads. It seems to really set them off, and that's, you don't have to do that. You can use all one fur. We've done all red fox or all raccoon. It's cool to mix and match furs for the bears. It really sets them off. Makes them look really cool. But yeah, we do teddy bears, and those are probably one of the most popular things that we do make, the fur bears. We do a lot of Coyote Mountain Man hats. Guys really like those. We do beaver gauntlet mitts. Those are one of our best sellers too. Guys just love those. We do a fleece lined gauntlet mitt with a buckskin pad, and for snowmobiling or ice fishing, they're great for that. Or even hunting, we'll actually make a flip where the finger flap actually flaps back, so you still have use of your fingers to shoot a gun or something. So those are a good seller too.
Yeah, that was my next question, is what's kind of your best seller? So
yeah, just those items. We do make blankets. We don't do a whole lot of blankets, but that's that's more costly because it's a lot more time consuming to make a blanket. So, but my wife's actually working on a red fox blanket right now for a customer, a trapper in PA. But yeah, we've got a lot of items, and everything's on our website if anyone wants to go and check that out.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I reached out to you. I follow you on Instagram, and I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of trying to actually make things with my own fur. But the problem we have down here is it never really gets cold enough to warrant wearing fur. So trying to come up with something that somebody in the South would actually use has been a struggle for me. So, but
it's definitely there. It is definitely warm, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see some of those, like the beaver blankets or something like that. Man, those things look so awesome, but there is no way that I could have that on my bed.
You would cook.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be all for looks.
Yeah, but we've made blankets. Like I said, they are more costly, but even just for looks, to like we'll even make something that's not as costly as we'll make a throw, which doesn't take as many animals, and that's something you could just throw in the back of your sofa just for looks. And again, it keeps the cost down because it doesn't take a whole pile of animals to make a throw. You set 8 coyotes or even 6 coyotes, something like that. We can make a throw even for the back of a chair.
Yeah. I do like that idea. That might be something that we can work with there. So,
right.
So my next question is for the first vest that your wife made you. Did she already have access to kind of heavier duty sewing machines, or was she just kind of using a run of the mill sewing machine that she used around the house? Or
no, yeah, we attempted that and it didn't work. So she was doing some hand sewing, but then actually I work for a taxidermy shop. This is my other full-time job, and I actually have access to my boss's sewing machines, because she was making pillows and stuff for him. And we were able to bring the machine to our house and use it here. So we had asked him about just using the machine for to make a few items, and then she used that to make my vest. And it was great. I mean, it worked out nice because we were able to use his machine. He was fine with it. So yeah, for a year or two, we were using his machine, and then I actually went and bought a fur sewing machine for her. So she is using a heavy-duty fur sewing machine now that's strictly pretty much just for fur, and that's been great since she got that. definitely makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, I imagine. We actually had our Georgia Trappers Association convention this past weekend, and there was a guy set up right next to me. I took some of my leather stuff, so I very much like that. I started out doing some of this leather work, and was just hand sewing it, and I was like, man, this just takes forever. And I wound up investing in a heavier duty machine that could sew leather. But
Yep.
And I've made a few fur things just tinkering around. But there was a guy down there that had a bunch of different fur. He had some really nice stuff. He had some vests and things, and so I was kind of picking his brain, and he showed me. I don't know. He had an old machine, an old fur sewing machine. But the quality, the way it sewed it, and the way that you can tuck the fur in between the leather and all, and it's hard to describe, but man,
that's how this machine is too. It basically over and unders the fur, and it's front feeding, so it's not like a machine, like a regular machine where you're actually pushing the material down underneath the needle. It's actually a front facing machine, so everything's right in front of you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and man, it looked so nice compared to just my regular feeding machine, and you can't really control the fur, and there's fur sticking out everywhere. But it was a really nice product for sure. So, is most of your orders is it people wanting their own fur sewn, or is it people that are just ordering some of the things off your website?
Some of both. I would say the majority is people sending us their fur, which is awesome. I mean, that's what we really push. Guys have this fur, and they're looking for products that are affordable, and yeah, we do a lot of fur that people have caught. We'll actually take fur that's tanned. We'll also take it that's dried, fresh and dried. Or salted. We took fur last year that was salted too, and they came back from the tannery, and they were nice too. So we did this past year start taking fur on the carcass. So for like our local customers, it's really nice. I had no idea what that would do either for us, but it was pretty cool to see people coming out of the woodwork and dropping off animals on the carcass for us to skin, and then we started just taking the whole way through, all the way to the finished product. Now we don't do the tanning here at R&R. We do send that out to a garment tannery, but we've been using them for quite a few years, and with it's a great product. We do, we will sew some home tan stuff. Home tans tend to be kind of greasy, and sometimes they're not the nicest. So we do recommend that if you're going to do a home tan, that it's a really good quality home tan, or the product's not going to last.
Right. Yeah, I've been down that road trying to do the home tan, and just in my experience, it is not even comparable to a professionally tanned product. It's just
right. And for us, like we're making garment stuff, so I mean we need stuff that smells good and it's clean, it's soft, and it's thin, shaved thin too, so that it's not heavy and bulky, especially if you're making a vest. So that's important. But yeah, we do sell quite a few items too with my fur. Everything I catch, I get tanned, and then we send that to the tannery, and we'll make the majority of our items that we make is fur that I've caught. This past year, I did buy some fur because everything was doing great, but then all this COVID stuff hit, and it's like, man, this is crazy. We aren't doing any shows. Everything's canceled. So I do have quite a bit of fur left from last year, but for the most part, the fur I'm using is stuff that I'm catching to make items. And then, yeah, we do sell quite a bit, especially around Christmas time. We do a lot of the knit pom-pom hats. Those do real well for us. And a lot of our items sell real well at Christmas time for gifts.
Yeah. And that was, I like that. That's kind of the whole reason that I got started with the leather and trying to figure out something with the fur is just, if the fur market's bad for you, the fur market's terrible for us down here in the South. I mean,
yeah.
And there's so many people down here that trap, and I really like the idea of taking, somebody's on the carcass. I could see where that would be very popular because we got, I know we've got predator hunters and guys that are tinkering around trapping down here that, they're not going to skin a coyote. That all they want to do is kill it. But if they could take it to somebody, they very well might try to take it and at least have it tanned or something, but unless they take it to a
Right.
taxidermist to have it tanned, it's just going in the ditch. And, man, I hate that so much.
Yep. Yeah, and that's another reason, why we're doing what we're doing, because it's a way to utilize the fur and get something made, or even just get a wall hanger. I mean, we'll do that too. So yeah, we've noticed there's a lot of people out there that do not know how to put up fur, and I actually shown a couple people last year how to do it, and but yeah, it's for me it's a fulfilling job. I love catching my stuff, and when I first started, I was selling it on the carcass. And I always wanted to put up my own fur. So then I'm like, you know what, this year I'm going to do it. So I got into putting up my own fur and doing that. And it's just really satisfying knowing that I've taken the fur from the field and brought it in and did the whole process. And at the end of the season, barn photo is always worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what was the draw to get into trapping originally for you?
For me, I guess my grandpa, like I said, was a huge hunter. He hunted all over the country, and I did a lot of hunting, but my dad trapped muskrats. Years ago in Pennsylvania, that was a way to make money. My dad grew up trapping muskrats with his dad, and they went out and they did it for money, and not really, I guess I'm sure they had fun doing it, but more for money. They made a lot of money back then. So my dad was a muskrat trapper, but he hadn't done it since he was a young kid. And I guess, I don't know, the lure of trapping, I guess, is what got me. And then Jeremiah Johnson.
Sure.
I watched that movie, and it's like, man, that's such a great movie. And, yeah, I mean, it's just the lure, I guess, the draw to going out and setting traps and catching animals. And oh, man, it's crazy what that blossoms into when you start. It's like I tell everybody, it's like, Every day you go out to check your traps, it's like Christmas morning.
Yep.
It's like you never know what you're gonna have, or you might have a double or a triple, you might have a coyote, or I just love the idea of trapping, and I guess that's what got me driven into starting it and just trying to learn it and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in talking about the Pennsylvania trappers, and I'm making an assumption here, but in general, it's pretty decent fur prices for Pennsylvania fur, I'm assuming. Do you see pretty good swings in, I guess, overall trapper numbers when prices are down, or is overall, the number of people trapping fairly consistent regardless of price?
I'd say it's fairly regardless. Price doesn't affect it much. I do know when fur prices go up, we will definitely notice more people trying to do a lot more trapping. But no, I mean, as far as Pennsylvania, it's great. There's a lot of young people that are learning and getting out there and doing it. Like this year, we had a trapper training school, and I think we had 42 people, adults and kids, which that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot for our district. We have a pretty large district here where I'm at in PA, and that was a good amount of kids, and a lot of kids mostly. So it's cool. I'd say trapping is still really pretty strong in Pennsylvania, I would say, especially the bobcat trapping and the fisher trapping. The allure of that, and also coyotes too. But the allure of the bobcats and the fishers, that's really is helping trapping you stay alive here in PA, because not everybody's going to want to run a long line or put a lot of time into it. They're going to be looking more for, I want to catch that bobcat. And bobcats are plentiful, like I said, in most parts of the state. So that's great. I mean, we do have quite a few people chasing cats and fishers now.
Gotcha. So
we have otters too. So the otters they're slowly making a comeback in PA, but there's only certain WMUs that you can trap otters in. But that's cool to see that they're making a comeback too.
That's one I was going to ask you a question on too. Is there a limit on otters per season too?
Yeah, one otter per season. But you have to, like I said, own, I'm not exactly sure on how many WMUs. I know they just opened another management unit up for otters, but nothing close to us. Now, we do have otters around here, but there's no season yet for them.
Gotcha. So would you consider the red fox your most favorite? What would be your favorite animal to target? Your favorite fur bearer to target?
My favorite fur bearer, I would say, is coyote. I love trapping coyotes. To me, that's the ultimate. I love catching coyotes. And the first one I ever caught, that was just like, man, I was just yelling and hollering. I was so happy, and really just love targeting coyotes. And I love catching reds too. That's, like I said, we have a lot more reds around here than coyotes, but the coyotes are definitely around. The thing with coyotes around here is everything's out to try to get them. They're getting shot at by farmers all year long. You can shoot coyotes here. So coyote numbers are definitely on the rise for sure in our area. And I have farmers calling me, they'll call me now, and I'm not a nuisance trapper. So like, oh, can you come trap these coyotes for me? Like they're all over the place. I'm seeing them everywhere. And I'm like, I can't come now. I said, but I have a nuisance trapper number. You can call him and see if he'll come out and help you out. But the coyote numbers are definitely on the rise. A lot of people are seeing them. They're seeing them in the daylight more now. So that's good for me because I love to trap them. But it's also bad, that for a lot of other wildlife too, that they are coming up in the numbers that they are. But no, I love catching coyotes. It's just nothing better than seeing a coyote in the trap here and walking up to him and having him woofing at you. And so, I mean, it's just the best.
I can't argue with that. So, do you have a preferred set or a go-to for when you're targeting coyotes, or?
Not really. I know when I first started, I was setting, I thought too close to the dirt hole. I was targeting, again, more foxes. I did move my trap back, good. I'm setting out about 9-10 inches now. And I feel, even being back that far, I think I catch just as many, if not more, foxes being set back farther. And I usually run a double dirt hole. That's my go-to. I'll do some scent posts. But for the most part, I'm just running a double dirt hole, and, setting back farther. And I don't care if I catch a fox by the back foot, my MB's going to hold him. So, it doesn't bother me one bit where I catch them.
Right. So your trap placement on your double dirt hole, are you off-centered or kind of centered of the two dirt holes, or?
I'm still offsetting a little bit to the right on a double dirt hole. I don't really think that matters too much for me. I don't know. It's just how I've always done it. I think I'd probably just catch just as many if I was centered up on it. They're working that set. But I do offset a little bit, just out of habit, I guess. That's pretty much all I'm running. I'll run, baiting one and luring the other. And I always like to, run fur feathers down the hole. I grew up watching, I started watching Darren Freeborough, who was a great trapper from up in northwestern PA, and he made bait and lure and really knowledgeable on catching coyotes, and I learned a lot from his videos, DVDs. He was a great guy. We actually lost him here a couple years ago in a boating accident, which was pretty sad. He wasn't very old, but it's just crazy. I still think about that, and you always got to be careful when you're out there. I think about him all the time because just like that, we're active in the outdoors, and you always got to be thinking about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I think that's one thing. A lot of us get complacent, and a lot of times being out there by ourselves and doing stuff that we've done 1,000 times, but it only takes one little slip up or one little mess up for sure. Yeah,
and that's for sure. And now, especially since I had the back surgery, I'm like, got to watch my footing and slow down a little bit because I'm the kind of guy I'm go.
Right.
But it's like, okay, let's slow it down here a little bit because I certainly don't want to get myself into a pickle.
So, going back to your back to the business, back to the fur business. So what's your primary? I mean, do y'all do a lot of shows? How do you get your name out? Just or how have you gotten your name out and kind of spread the word?
Yeah, spreading the word. I mean, I found just word of mouth is huge. Like I said, the trapping community is a great community. We know a lot of people in the Trappers Association, and they've been great in just making friends that way. Mike Spittle's been a really huge asset to helping us get started. He actually helped me get started, just trapping in general. I went to his shop, and he's down in Lancaster County, and he was just super, super helpful for me to get started. Butch Herr's another friend he's the one who actually took me out on his line. and showed me things. And a lot of people around here, they're real super secretive about stuff, even going on the line. So that was huge to help a young guy out, get started. And just, you got to do that, because you got to keep, you don't get the young people involved. It's something we're going to lose. We could lose trapping, because you got to get people involved. So I'm going on a goose chase again. What was your question?
Yeah. So how did y'all share the spread your word about your business?
Yeah. We do a handful of shows a year. We do the Trapper Rendezvous in Pennsylvania. That's a big one for us. We'll do a few other shows throughout the state. Not many. We have 3 young children at home. They're in school, and so it's hard for us to do shows right now. But eventually, I want to do a lot more shows. Shows are great. You actually get to meet the people that you're talking to on Instagram and Facebook, and it's really been pretty amazing. The spread that those two outlets have given us. We'll go to a show, and then people will go by, oh, I recognize you guys. I see you guys on Instagram or Facebook. Man, I know. Oh, that's so cool. I got to finally meet you, and that's cool. I mean, it's great. It's a great tool. And I'm no expert at all on Instagram or Facebook by any means. I just am trying to do the best I can, posting, decent pictures and trying to get people involved. And Instagram and Facebook, I'd say, has been huge for us. I mean, we were able to ship things to Australia, to Ireland, that was pretty cool. Just the spread that can have, it's a great avenue to use. But then, also being involved with the Trapper Association, the Rodeo Queens, that has been huge for publicity for us, people seeing them wearing our products. But, and then, again, word of mouth. It's great being located in PA, because we have so many trappers and outdoorsmen, hunters. They can come and see us and visit we do have a nice little shop now. My wife was working in the basement of our house for a couple years, so now we got a nice little shop for her to sew in, and I actually moved up into our old bank barn now to do the skinning and fleshing. I got a real nice shop up there to work in, and a place to dry the fur, and it'll be nice and warm. So, but as far as spreading the word, that's pretty much how those are our avenues.
Gotcha. So, what is your Facebook and Instagram handle, and if people are looking for you, what's the best way for people to find you?
The best way, we have a website, like I said, that's www.randrtradingpost.com. The website is a great way to go on and just see what products we have, what's available, and if you don't see what you have on, what you want on there, you can always look on Instagram or Facebook. Those I'm always on there. I do the social media stuff. My wife, you'll if you call here you can call on our house phone too, or house phone, business phone. You'll either get her or me, probably her, and she's super knowledgeable about everything. So if anyone does want to try to contact us, she's definitely very knowledgeable, and you can talk to her too. But she does pretty much all the sewing. I'll help her when I have time, but then once the season rolls around, I do most of the trapping. She'll come along some. But then with my back, the last couple years, I do the skinning, and she'll actually do the fleshing, which is really nice.
Man, yeah.
I mean, everyone's like, man, you're spoiled. But my 9-year-old, he's getting real good too. He actually was helping skin possums, and he was doing fleshing last year too, and he really enjoys it. So he's getting there, and his brother's not far on behind him either. But I did do some fleshing last year, but I'm hoping this year my back's strong enough to do some fleshing. But she's gotten really, really good at fleshing.
Gotcha. Man, that sounds like a good deal for sure.
Yeah.
And then I almost forgot, in addition to the fur stuff, you also have some bait and lure that you make?
Yes. Yep. I started selling that last year, actually. To the public. It's something I've been using. I've been making and messing with it, since I started trapping. And I started making a couple different things that I use and selling. I do a really good meat-based predator paste bait. That's X Factor. That's pretty much what I use, at all my sets. I will throw, some coyote glands here and there. I don't have access to those, but I do have a red fox gland lure that I use, and I'll use that for coyotes and foxes. It works really, really well. So I mean, I have quite a few different bait and lures that I make. I have a squirt and go that I'll do that's a long distance. It has a lot of skunk in it. That's a critter getter. And then I have the same thing that's just an all predator food lure that doesn't have the skunk in it. You can use that for coons or fox, coyotes. It's just a great like a trailing scent almost. And I have two different raccoon baits that I make too. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about that stuff, that's all on the website too. I really enjoy formulating bait and lure. It's something that I've always liked doing. It's cool taking recipes and trying to make them better and putting them out on camera and seeing what's going on with the critters. So something that I want to continue to do. As far as like big scale, I'm not ready to go big scale selling it. I have a limited supply right now, but hopefully in the future it's something I could get into making a lot more of. But yeah, if anybody wants to give it a try, we surely would appreciate it. Checking it out or asking questions about it.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else? Anything else you want to talk about, or anything else that we didn't cover?
Oh man, yeah. As far as finding us, just check out our website, Instagram and Facebook. It's RANBR Trading Post, and the logo is R&R. It's black with like a coyote howling. You guys can find us that way, and our phone number to reach us is 717-865-4597. Yeah, and we really appreciate you contacting us, and this was awesome. I was really looking forward to doing the interview.
Yeah, well, man, like I said, it's something that's kind of gotten, I guess, I don't know, been a passion thing for me or something lately, but just the figuring out how that we can keep more of our fur and use more of our fur here. I feel like that adds so much to the story that we as trappers have, and would go a long way, I feel like, in helping to sway some people to support trapping if, they could see the actual product versus, just saying that, somebody in China or Russia or wherever is wearing, a fur coat made out of the raccoons that we're trapping, So I appreciate what y'all are doing. I'm glad to see that it's going well, and I'm pretty excited to get those fur teddy bears back and see what they look like. So
yeah, it sounds great, and we look forward to working with you and putting them together for you. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, just contact me or my wife. Yeah, hopefully everybody has a great, safe trapping season.
And I'll put links to your website, Instagram, and Facebook all in the section below where the podcast is. So make it easy for folks to find you too. And I appreciate your time. And
hey, yeah.
Stay in touch, and I'll be looking forward to getting a package from you soon.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks for following along, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for everything.